$300 million in this pot that does nothing for anyone in the state. You take some of those funds, set it aside, and when individuals go into healthcare professionals or see a healthcare professional, and the healthcare professional says, look, TennCare is not paying our bills, the healthcare professional can apply to the state for funding. So those individuals who are experiencing very tough times in their life when you go to the doctor can get the help that they deserve and need. But that's not it. That's not the only thing we can be doing in the state. Over 1 million people in the state live in a food desert. I know what it's like, because the summers of my childhood, they were in a food desert. My neighbors would have to walk to the corner store to get groceries. And we know you can find healthy eating alternatives in the corner store. We have to be forward thinking. We have to take a very active approach to addressing food deserts in the state. But it doesn't stop there. How we get out of this current situation. And I know you all don't want to hear it. You know, I woke up recently to some troubling news. I know we all have. We heard that the Supreme Court did the unthinkable, overturn Roe versus Wade. But the Supreme Court did not take away women's rights. Guess who did? Governor Bill Lee. When Governor Bill Lee signed the trigger law, he took away rights from every single woman in this state. And that's problematic. To be honest with you, it's outright disrespectful. It's telling every woman that you don't matter. Telling every woman that we're going to roll back the hands of time and continue to treat women like property. But that's not the right way. It's not the right way. And I would go through a long rant to tell you why that decision was wrong legally. But none of that really matters because we can stop what's being done right here in this state. We start electing people who value women. We start electing prosecutors who won't prosecute. Tell you what we can do in Texas. And tell you what I've been able to do in the city of Memphis in a circumstance in which a company was doing something wrong. And how we get to the point in which every legislator in this state understands the absolute truth that women are entitled to make decisions regarding their body. On one particular day, in the middle of a council meeting, I get noticed that there's a restaurant in the city of Memphis, one of the most popular restaurants in the city of Memphis, decided to discriminate against people who look like me. They said, you know, if you're not elected, if you don't have a prestigious position, when you go into this restaurant, you must sit upstairs. You can't sit downstairs by any of the windows, you must sit upstairs. So I get word of this, and I called the mayor's administration. I said, send me every contract you have in the city with this particular restaurant. I found this contract, and the contract says that by agreement that this particular restaurant can utilize city streets for valet parking. Got my hand on that contract, suspended the rules, and I held this contract in my hand just like this. I said, you will not park on city streets. Matter of fact, every single day in this city, you're going to hear from us. No one knew what I was talking about. What they did not know, I was in contact with a large group in the community. And every single day, that community, their group, was outside protesting in front of their restaurant. They was like, where are you going with this? And I said, well, it's really simple for me. How do you get politicians, how do you get companies to do something? You touch their bottom line. So they were protesting. I was using the power of the pen. I was using the bully pulpit to talk about this company. And how do we get there? Activism coupled with legislative action. That's how you get things done. And that very same company, the silent partner, came in, flew in from San Francisco, and he immediately bought out the discriminating partner. They immediately hired diverse staff, and they stopped those discriminatory practices because we made them uncomfortable every single day. And if we want to get to the point in which this state recognizes women as equal, recognizes women as the fact that they're entitled to do whatever they want to with their bodies, it's going to take a group of dedicated citizens not being quiet, but going there and they're protesting, sending emails, calling them every single day. And it's also going to take some folks in the legislature, in the General Assembly, and in the governor's seat, holding it in their hand and saying, I have a piece of legislation that will give women respect and dignity in this state. We shouldn't even have this conversation. We should be codifying a women's right to choose in this state. And with enough people in the state angry about it, we can make it happen. Now I'm going to address the elephant in the room, and then we have a debate soon. So I'm going to address the elephant in the room, and I'm going to take some questions, all right? So the only question that really matters to everyone here why we're, is can a Democrat win statewide? That's the only question that really matters, right? I know that's the question y'all want to know. Can a Democrat win statewide? I'm going to answer that question for you all, and I'm going to tell you how it's possible. Absolutely. So, some of you may know that I played basketball a little bit. Some of you may know that I'm a lawyer. But what y'all don't know is I'm kind of a nerd. And I looked at the numbers. This is the facts. In gubernatorial races, about 2.4 million people vote. What that means is 1.6 million people who are registered to vote simply stay at home in gubernatorial races. Now let's break that 1.6 million down. Large chunk of it, millennials, my generation. They stay at home. Generation Z, the generation slightly younger than me, they stay at home. And the large category is what I consider marginalized communities. Rural Tennessee and black and brown communities. We have to be intentional on getting those groups out. Is it possible? Yes. Everywhere I go, folks are talking about how they're excited about this particular race. In the wake of the decision with Roe versus Wade, we're going to have more people angry about what's happening in this administration. We have an opportunity to change the trajectory of this state, change the trajectory of this party if we put someone at the top of the ticket that actually understands government, that actually has a track record of getting things done with an administration that's not favorable of their political stances, but also has a track record of getting people excited. Our campaign has done that. I can talk about the fact that I have more endorsements than any other candidate in this race. I can talk about the fact that since the October date, every poll that was taken, won by the Davis County Democratic Party, we won that poll. I can tell you that Hamilton County took a poll as well. We won that poll. I can tell you most recently, the Tennessee Democratic Party and second gubernatorial debate, they took a poll. And 59% of the people who watched or attended the event chose Councilman Smiley to be the Democratic nominee. Not because I'm such a great politician, not because I never mess up on a word like I'm Harold Ford Jr., it's because I don't walk on the stage with any notes. I speak from the heart. And the truth of the matter is, folks don't vote with this. People vote with this. How you make them feel here. How you make them feel like that. And one thing my father always said is, one, that keep your word. So every single day, if I tell you something, I mean it. If I can't do something, I will let you know. Quick story. Leah's like, yo, we can wrap it up. So this. I'm gonna tell you how I know it's real, how Democrats can win. So I have the luxury of being a recent graduate of an organization called Leadership Tennessee Next. Leadership Tennessee takes a diverse group of individuals, emerging leaders, and bring us together to talk about the issues in this state. One of the issues is the fact that we have no more bankruptcy rate in the country. We have the third highest violent crime rate in the country. We have the fourth lowest median income. But all those things, we're talking about solutions. But one thing that I hated a lot was icebreakers. I really hate icebreakers. They're really bad, especially over Zoom. So this particular day, we meet, and there's an icebreaker. About 35 was in there, about 25 Republicans, a few Democrats, and a few independents. And she says, the moderator says, all right, everybody stand up. I said, okay, I do not want to stand up. I'm ready to go home as soon as it starts. And she says, imagine that this room is a game board. I'm like, yeah, this is going to suck. I do not want to be here. And she goes on to proceed. She said, if you go to the front of the room, you completely agree with what I'm saying. You're in the middle of the room, you're indifferent. You don't care. You just kind of figuring it out. But if you go to the back of the room, you completely disagree with what I'm saying. Matter of fact, you want me to shut up because what I'm saying is so bad. So she makes this statement. She says, I am satisfied with where we are as a state. I said, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to the back of the room because we're going in the wrong direction in every major statistical category. I immediately go to the back of the room. But when I looked up, I realized 25 people were staying beside. And I said, you know what? I thought there were mostly Republicans in here. And then I realized it wasn't just Democrats who were unsatisfied with this administration. Republicans as well. Independents as well. And I always get a kick out of this part. So there was 2 or 3 people in the middle, but there was 3 people in the front. One of the young ladies who was standing up front, she was on Bill Lee's COVID-19 task force, and she looked up and she said, "Hey, I'm in trouble." So she quickly understood that this administration is in trouble because people are not happy with where we're going. They want something different. And with that, any questions?
How long have you been running?
How long I've been running? See, I announced my candidacy September the 8th, 2021 in the Orphan Theater, about 200 people in the room. And what a lot of folks talk about is, it wasn't just Democrats there. There was Republicans there as well, Republican elected officials. Most recently, well, not recently, I had an opportunity to go to the Tennessee Municipal League in Chattanooga, and there was elected officials there where folks were talking about it. Finally have someone who understands local government, who won't preempt us on all the issues. What is the governor? That was actually about my campaign. So one particular day during the conference, I'm talking about 15 leaders. I just knew they were all Democrats. But what I did not realize, there was a Republican mayor sitting there just listening to me. So after the Democrats leave, he gets up and walks up to my table. He says, "Councilman Smiley, you don't know me." I look in my eyes and I say, "Well, I don't." And he said, "Well, I'm a Republican mayor about 2.5 hours from Memphis. And you said something that caught my attention. You said, would the life of my 2 little girls be better under your administration or this current administration?" I got to thinking that the life of my 2 little girls would be absolutely better under your administration. He says, "I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm going to vote for you." I said, "Well, if you find 299,000 more votes, I will be okay." But in all seriousness, folks want something different. They want someone they can trust, someone that actually understands government. We already seen what it's like with someone with no government experience tells us they're going to fix our government. We saw that with the last president who should be in jail somewhere. We see that with this current administration who told us he's going to fix Tennessee, but actually he made us go in the wrong direction in almost every major statistical category. We need someone who understands government. And prior to serving in the capacity as a super district member of the Memphis City Council, I served as a policy advisor to elected officials. I'll tell you what that means. That means I followed the elected official everywhere. I read everything. I talked to the other elected officials. And when it came time for guidance on what the legislation said, they didn't read it themselves. Guess who they asked to read it? You need someone who has at least some foundation of understanding of the law, but also understand how government works. Because when it comes time to vote, when they walk up on those platforms of ESs, guess what? The decision's already made. The decision's happening in the back room. You need someone who understands the intimate workings of government to stop bad legislation before it comes, but also when bad legislation does make its way out of the General Assembly and comes on their desk, have the courage to veto it. Because we know what this government does. When bad legislation comes, he says, "Well, I think it's bad, but I'm allowed to go into law without my signature." He's someone with guts, but also courage.
The last issue, that's where he's at.
He's leading all of them to it, because if you don't know, he has a planning committee, exploratory committee, talking about his potential run for president. But guess what? Tennessee has an opportunity to send him home, return him to life as a private citizen, so he doesn't ever announce his candidacy for president. He's just worried about the fact that how and where did I go wrong? I can tell you a lot of different places that he discovered went wrong.
What other question?
Yes, sir.
Where'd you play ball?
Tennessee Tech University in Cooper.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, it was a good time. Wings up for those who didn't know about Tennessee Tech. Also, so my brother played football at East Tennessee State, right? And I just knew that I was going to go live with my brother. So I go to visit him for 1 week in the summer of 2003, I believe, or 2003. So I go visit him for 1 week, and I said, "Oh, I love this place." And then 1 week turned to 2 weeks. And I said, "You know what?" And I actually had an opportunity to play with some of the players who were playing for Science Hill at the time. And I was like, "You know what? I am definitely moving to East Tennessee. I'm going to live with my brother. I'm going to play basketball at Science Hill." So we convinced my brother. That was the easy thing. After I convinced my brother, I said, "Okay, we got to convince your coaches that you have some responsible hatred." So we convinced the coaches. We said, "Okay, well, we need you to call my mom to convince her." She said, they told my mom that it's going to teach my brother responsibility, and he'll be a much better football player and a much better person if he has some a responsibility, right? So convince my mom, my brother's on board, I'm ready. Then we have attempted to convince my father. Literally 4 seconds in the call, he said, no, bring your butt home. So that's why I'm back in. He didn't even have an opportunity to make a good argument. He's like, no, bring your butt back home. I think that was his military training. Didn't give me a chance to make a good argument. I was ready to.
Did you listen to your dad? Anything wrong with that?
Yeah, I've done it a lot. I reflect more on his teachers now more than that. Any other questions?
How many counties you made it in?
See, 80, don't have me tell you my number. 83. And
12 to go, I guess.
12 to go. But the good thing for me is I've been in Tennessee my whole life. So prior to running for governor, I've been everywhere. Make sure playing basketball.
Is on rural Tennessee, how to break the out of the red.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, with every place that you go, try your question, how to break rules to the grid. So I had an opportunity, I visited White County, and I had an opportunity to talk to the mayor of Livingston in Tennessee Municipal League. And he told me a story, and I was like, huh? It didn't make any much sense to me, so I had to think through it. What he was telling me is, on a local level in Livingston, the people vote for who they go. So you will find in the red county that votes red for presidential elections, the local elected leaders are Democrats. And I didn't understand it. The way that he explained it to me was this. He said, the reason we vote for Democrats in a red county, we know them. They're consistently at our churches, they're consistently sitting down at our restaurants. We actually see them at the park. They're consistently here, consistently praying. But when it comes to statewide candidates or presidential candidates, we don't see the candidate. All we see is the Republican coming here. How do we break parts of rural Tennessee that have been traditionally red, or have been red since 2006? We do what Bredesen did when he was winning every single county. We do the same thing that Harold Ford Jr. did in 2006. You go everywhere. You sit down at the table, you have conversations with people. You don't assume they're going to vote in a particular way. Just talk to them, you get to know them. And the reason that we found ourselves in this position, candidates simply stop showing up. Stop caring about every single person. What we've done, we don't simply stop by for an hour or two. We try to develop real relationships. We talk to people, Lynn done talked to so many people on the phone. I done talked to so many people on the phone. And Makai is 19 years old. He's getting pretty good at this because he's talking to a lot of people on the phone. It's about developing real relationships, real connections. And that's what we've been able to do. And that's how you move from red to blue, or move from red to purple. Talk to people. Any other questions? Lynn is dying to say some words, y'all. Well, thank you all so much. And I'm
Hello. I am Lynn Whitney. I'm the campaign manager for Councilman David Smiley Jr. No period. I truly thank you all for allowing us to come here. We have been traveling for miles. That's coming from Memphis to Mountain City to Jackson City, Jackson, Tennessee, Johnson City, different areas. So we've been to different counties multiple times. We do believe in spending that time with individuals here in the state of Tennessee just to get a chance to hear what their issues are and what their needs are. That's the only way that he can really be an effective governor if he's elected governor. When I say that, if he's elected governor, the only way we can make sure that he will be elected is if each and every one of you all encourage someone else to come with you to the polls and go vote. Not only you, but whoever you don't like, your aunt, your uncle, your cousins, every single person that you know, if y'all can take the time out to just get on the phone or send a text, send an email to say, hey, early voting is on July the 15th through the 30th. Election day is on the 4th of August. What day would you like to go? I can come pick you up, whatever we need to do. As many things as we can do to get a lot of people involved in the elections. I'm not sure if y'all paid attention to the previous elections, but the turnout was tremendously low, and we can't have that this time. We have to make sure that we're getting Billy out of office and elected someone that is truly for the people and for what their needs are, not hidden agendas. So, with that being said, I always have the pleasure of asking for your support. What your support looks like is, like I just said, getting on the phone and contacting somebody, telling them about this campaign. Not only telling them about this campaign, but also making a donation. You know, gas prices now are like $100 a gallon. So with that, we definitely need your financial support. We need your donations. If you look on your flyer that we gave y'all, we also provided some buttons for you. If you like some buttons, definitely wear that around so people can know that you're supporting us. But look at that flyer and take a moment for me. We have the website at the bottom, and we also have that box that's on the front at the lower corner and on the right, and it's called a QR code. I'm going to use you as an example. I'm a teacher by trade. So this box here is called a QR code. With your phone, you can just put it on the photo section and just scan over it. You don't actually have to take a photo, but just scan over it. When you scan over it, it'll directly take you to our donation link with ActBlue, or you can make a check. I am accepting check, gas cards, cash, whatever you're wanting to donate. We definitely appreciate it. So again, thank you all so much for having us. We definitely appreciate your time, and thank you, Jason, so much for organizing this opportunity for Councilman Smiley to come to your meeting and speak to you all. So thank you all again, and if you have any questions, I will definitely be available. I know I have to get him set up downstairs, but I will be available to help and assist. And we'll also have Makai and another leader here, Dr. Carol. She'll be available as well. So thank you all again so much for having us.